Hello, ORAT Nation. This is Dan Bird reporting on the market Wednesday, April 5th. I just wanted to do a quick midweek update just to see where we are with the markets and kind of show you what my process typically is. This probably won't be a very long one, but I want to first show you an interesting article. Let me share my screen here real quick. So this is an article I just ran across, and it's interesting. This is from Benzinga. Inflation is about to plummet. Here's when things should get back to normal. So tell me if you think this sounds familiar, because this is what I've been saying for a while now. Bank of America affirms inflation is following a mean reversion trend, which is consistent with the fall since the surprises of May 2022. View is that a mild recession in the second half of the year and an ongoing deflation in goods should lead to a marked slowdown in overall inflation next year. That's already started. We're going to see a marked slowdown. We've already seen a marked slowdown. It's going to actually accelerate, I think, even though it may have some brief periods of going higher because oil right now and gasoline is going back up. But I do think we will get a good inflation report on the next one, which is on April 14th. And I think we could see 5.6% on the CPI. And if we do, I think the market's going to take off. This also says, let's see, inflation will fall to roughly 4% by the end of the second quarter of 23. End of the second quarter, that's June. Inflation 4% by June. I've been saying it's going to come down in the summertime. B of A's predictions on the Fed funds rate. In terms of Fed, there's one really interesting thing in here. B of A anticipates an additional and final 25 basis point in May. I think that's probably true. They probably will still want to do that 25, but there is a chance that they might not do it at all. And really, it depends on what the rest of the banking sector does. I'm going to show you some things on banks in a second. But look at this. B of A anticipates 10-year treasury yields at 3.25% by the end of 2023. How prescient is that? Let's take a look real quick at my VIX chart. Here's the VIX. It's still green. Let's look at the 10-year treasury. Where is it? Look at that. It's at 3.28%. So I don't think it's a big stretch to say it's going to be at 3.25% when it's at 3.28 right now and heading lower. So the 10-year treasury keeps heading down. The VIX still is in pretty good shape, even though we've had the market fall a little bit the last few days. I'll talk about that in a second as well. Right now it was at a high above 20, but it closed at 19, right around 19 today. So the VIX is still pretty good for the market in general. So let's look at the market. Here's the S&P for today. You can see yesterday we had a sell-off. Today it sold off and then came back. So if you can see that candle right there, it's not really a hammer, because a hammer is something you want to see at the bottom of a trend like this one down here. But if you think about what these candles mean, the market opened here, it traded all the way down and came all the way back up. Now, something that I look for, if you look at the PPO, this is the momentum indicator. This has the stochastics in light gray in the background. And the PPO is very similar to the MACD, the moving average convergence divergence. The difference is the PPO is percentage price oscillator, which means it takes the percentage movement rather than the actual dollar amount. So it looks very much like the MACD, but if you're comparing two different charts and one is a stock of $100 and the other one's a stock of $10, you might want to do a percentage rather than the actual dollar value. But at any rate, once this gets back to zero, once this line for the PPO gets back to zero, so it's reset, it's back above zero right now. The next thing to look for on a retracement, and you can see the light gray in the background right here is the stochastics. It's rolling over, which means the market's going to start moving down, and that's actually what it's doing. So the next thing to look for, once you see this gets back to zero, stochastics rolls over, is can it hold the 21-day moving average? That's the blue line right here. So that's what we want to see. 21-day right now is at 4018. So call it roughly 4020. So if the market continues to sell off, which it very well might the next couple of days, see if that 21-day can hold. And if it does, then that's still very positive. It means we're still in an uptrend, and we very likely are going to take out this 4200 area up here. Now, one thing that concerns me a little bit about this particular chart, if anyone can pick it out here, is there potentially could be a head and shoulders pattern forming. So there's the head right there in the middle. Here's the left shoulder over here on this side. This potentially could be a right shoulder, but the head and shoulders pattern does not complete until it gets back down to the neckline, which is at that 38.2% Fibonacci level right down here. So if this continues past the 21-day and especially past the 50-day, then we've got to be very careful. If it gets back down to here and breaks through it, then the target for it is back to the lows in October. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm a little concerned with the way this is looking because it's retracing just about at the point where it did back here in December. So just something to think about, something to watch for. I'll come back to this from time to time as we move forward just to see what it's doing. If we look at the 4-year, again, you can actually more clearly, this is actually where I picked it out, you more clearly see the head and shoulders pattern right there. There's the head and there's the left and right shoulder. So this is a much longer term chart. There's the Fibonacci level. You can see we went up to the 23% Fibonacci right there and bounced back down to the 38. So we're bouncing in between these two levels right here. So we tried to get back to it again, but came back down. So we'll see if the 21-day can hold. 4020 is really important. So keep an eye on that. By the way, one of the things I also look for is divergences. Divergences are very powerful, but they are also very rare. So I pointed one out here on this chart. When we hit the low in October, the market traded lower during this period, but the relative strength index traded higher, and the PPO, the momentum index, also traded higher. So even though the price went lower in this case, these two momentum and relative strength indicators went higher. What that means is the downtrend is running out of steam. There's more buyers stepping in at these lower levels to push this back up. That's usually a very reliable signal that a trend change is about to occur. So I love looking for divergences like this. They don't happen very often, but when they do, they're pretty good indicators of which direction the market's going to go. The last thing, actually, let's take a look at VectorVest real quick. So this is the market timing graph. I showed this on Sunday with Zuber, and I mentioned at the time that this had broken out above the weighted moving average, the white line here, and it had also broken the downtrend. It's now traded back to that weighted moving average and the downtrend. So it's come right back to that. The detrended price oscillator down here went below zero. So the two things that have to occur for this to change to a sell signal, right now it's a buy signal, is this has to be below zero, which it is, but also this has to be below the 30-day weighted average. And I said on Sunday that these are pretty reliable, but there could be occasions where you get whipsawed. And if this does trade lower, and it could be as early as tomorrow, then a whipsaw would happen on this. This would actually get a down signal if this goes below that 30-day weighted average. So something to watch out for. Just out of curiosity, the 30-day, well, you won't, if you're not using VectorVest, this is a proprietary system. So it's not the same as the S&P or anything, but it needs to get actually below the 30-day is 55.59, say 55.60, and the price right now is at 55.80. So it doesn't have very far to go. So we actually need a bounce for it to head back higher to maintain this buy signal. All right, let me jump back over here. I did have a question from one of the listeners about banks. If we do get a good CPI, and the banks are the ones that typically lead off the earnings season, will the market still go higher on a good CPI, even if the banks are not performing? So I thought I'd take a look at the banks just to see what they look like. And the four major ones, these are the big banks. So when a lot of money came out of the regional banks, they went into the big banks. I wanted to take a look at these to see what they look like. And I'm looking at them on a relative basis. And I'm going to do these of these four in order of what I think is the strongest to what I think looks like the weakest. And I'll tell you why I think that. So in all cases, this is a relative chart. So I look at this from the sector level, the industry level, the stock itself versus its industry peers, and then the stock itself versus all other stocks in the stock universe. And that's more than just the S&P, that's all stocks. So step one, these two should look the same for all of them because they're all in the banking sector and they're all in the bank industry. So the yellow and green ones are going to look similar. So the one I really want to look at, and the most important one really, is how is that particular company doing versus its industry peers? That's the blue line right here. So as you can see, the sector is awful. The industry group banks is awful. So if this is going down, that means it's underperforming the S&P. In this case, the yellow one, it's underperforming the S&P. The green one, the banks are actually underperforming the sector. So they're underperforming financials by a large degree. And then the one at the bottom is how is Citi itself doing versus all stocks. And again, it's underperforming, as you would expect with the banking sector. But take a look at how it's doing versus its peers. So 3 of these are reporting on the 14th of April. Bank of America reports on the 18th. So these are all coming up and they usually lead off earnings season. Citi looks like the strongest to me because it is significantly outperforming its peers in the banking industry. The chart looks terrible, however. So the accumulation distribution is just beginning to come back up. So none of these really look great, but if you wanted to pick between the 4 of them, Citi would be the best one at this point. The next best is JP Morgan, and I'll flip between these two and you can take a look at the blue one here versus its industry peers. So there's JP Morgan and there's Citi versus its peers. So both of them are outperforming, but it looks like Citi has been outperforming a little bit longer than JP Morgan has, if you can see that. And then we'll take a look at Wells Fargo. Again, there's Wells Fargo. If you look at the blue area, it is just barely outperforming its peers. It had been outperforming and then pulled back. So there's Wells Fargo, there's JP Morgan, there's Citi. And the final one and the worst of the group is Bank of America. So in this case, you can see Bank of America is still just beginning to outperform, but it has been struggling for quite a bit longer than the other ones have. So there's Bank of America, there's Wells Fargo, there's JP Morgan, and there's Citi. So of these 4, I think that Citi will probably meet or even beat its numbers on the 14th. I think JP Morgan will probably do pretty well on the 14th. It's not going to be stellar, but I think that they'll be okay. Wells Fargo is going to be really touchy. They may actually miss on either revenue or earnings or both. And then Bank of America looks like the worst to me. So Bank of America might have a very difficult time when they report on the 18th. So anyway, that's what the banking sector looks like. And that's pretty much all I have for today. Just a real quick review of the inflation chart. And by the way, these are all in my newsletter if you're interested. I forgot to put my newsletter up here, but if you haven't started to receive it and you would like to, just send me an email to breakpointtrading@gmail.com and I'll add you to the list and you'll start getting these. I'll send you last week's newsletter and you'll start getting them each week from then on. This next newsletter, I'm going to talk about transportation as a service, where the future is heading. So it should be an interesting one. I did that article about a year ago or so, but I think it might be interesting to update that. So this is the inflation report, comes out on April 14th. You can see the month that it will be reporting on, the middle of the month, all of these fell off quite a bit. So I think the numbers that get reported are actually going to look pretty positive, even though since then, these have all ramped back up again. So we'll see what the following month ends up looking like. But I think the one on April 14th, I think is actually going to be a pretty good CPI report, which might actually help the market to take off. So to summarize, I think we are in a bit of a downtrend. It's to be expected. As I said on Sunday, markets don't go up in a straight line. There are going to be pullbacks. When there are pullbacks, I want to see a strong momentum, this PPO above the 0 line. If that pullback is coming, I want to see it hold its 21-day moving average and definitely its 50-day. If it breaks through the 50-day down here, then we may be forming a head and shoulder. So we need to watch that, but we'll see. I think it still has some room to go to the downside, frankly. So we'll see how the rest of the week pans out. Fortunately, both of these down days were on pretty low volume. You can see that right there. So that's actually good news. That means there's not a lot of commitment to the selling. So very low volume in the selling, and the accumulation distribution is still looking really good. And in fact, it actually moved up today, even though it was a down day on the street. So keep an eye on things. That's it for Wednesday. We'll talk again on Sunday with Zuber and probably have a interesting and rousing chat together. Hope you'll join us, and thanks a lot for listening. Take care.